this is Dan Ferrisi, Editor-in-Chief with Commercial Integrator, welcoming you to AV Plus, the podcast for the commercial AV integration industry. We're really excited to be continuing our 40 Under 40 Honoree series with the AV Plus podcast. This probably will be the final 40 Under 40 pod, and we're really excited to have all of our audience here to listen to it. And we're joined by two members of the TD SYNNEX team, both of whom were honored this year by peers and colleagues as 40 Under 40 influencers. As always, please like and subscribe to our YouTube page, and please subscribe to the AV Plus podcast on Apple and on Spotify. Really happy to be joined by Anna Wrice, who is Senior Partner, Business Manager of Collaboration with TD SYNNEX, as well as Graham Kelly, Senior Manager, North American Field Sales with TD SYNNEX. Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you so much, Graham, for being here today and joining us on the AV Plus podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much, Dan. Great to see you.
I'm sure that both of you probably saw a little bit about what we've done over the last several weeks and months, in fact, as far as the 40 Under 40 podcasts go. The way I've liked to try to do it is to just situate our audience first with the people they're going to be listening to and learning from. So rather than getting into the analytical stuff first, let's begin with your respective backgrounds. Why don't we start with you, Anna? A little bit about the career trajectory you have had, what has brought you to TD SYNNEX, and how you feel you kind of have earned recognition enough that peers, colleagues, maybe even competitors have named you as a 40 influencer under 40.
Yeah, sure. So I joined the TD SYNNEX team about 9 years ago. I started as a Hungary business development manager supporting our HP print business. I'm new to technology and the channel. I definitely realized quickly that the opportunity was at hand to have a meaningful career. I transitioned into our AV business about 5 years ago, and I've held different roles working on developing and implementing sales and marketing programs for partner enablement.
So now that you've been with the company as long as you have, what would you say is kind of the vibe you get or the feel you get? What is it like being part of the TD SYNNEX family, part of the TD SYNNEX team? Obviously, if you've been there for so many years already, it's some place where you feel warm and welcomed and like you have an opportunity really to grow and maximize your strengths.
Yeah, definitely our culture is people matter and that everyone has something to contribute to our industry. And we're really focused on making sure that you're in a role that best showcases your skill set. So in my current role as product business manager for collaboration, I own our overall collaboration go-to-market strategy. It's super fun. I really think that this industry, there's nothing like the connections you can make and the mentors that you can have in your life. AV technology is definitely ever changing. So it's really exciting to be a part of a team that is on the forefront response to the market's demands. It's really rewarding.
Absolutely. So let's turn to you, Graham. Talk a little bit about your own career trajectory. What has brought you to TD SYNNEX, and also kind of, what your initial ambitions were. Were you an AV and IT guy right from the start? Did you just kind of back into the industry and end up here? Tell me a little bit about what brought you to where you are and how you've now attained this level where, again, peers, competitors are reaching out and saying you deserve to be a 40 Under 40 honoree.
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks, Dan. Similar to Anna, I started nearly 9 years ago. Actually, Friday will be my 9th anniversary with TD SYNNEX. So this is a perfect way to kind of, reminisce on that start. But I was able to start as a product manager under Sandy Stanball's org within the AV organization. So you and I, Dan, have talked about where a lot of folks kind of fall into AV. I consider myself one of the lucky ones who, born and raised in Greenville, South Carolina, was always familiar with SYNNEX at the time. And when I graduated from Clemson, not too far away, I was able to, talk to some mutual friends and apply for that product management role. Luckily for me, I was able to earn that opportunity. And since then, I've served in a few different capacities. So business development, and then I had the chance to move to inside sales, calling on a number of AV integrators. After a few years of doing that, I was able to move to outside sales. Luckily enough, still working with some of those same partners and as of this year, I'm fortunate enough to manage an outside sales team, and we are able to call on strategic partners throughout the country. So I think, you've heard the common theme for me is the folks that we get to work with within this industry, and Anna talked on that, and that's internal and external, right? So, it's been a great place for me, the only place I've been, and, can't overstate how grateful I am for the opportunities that TD SYNNEX have granted to me.
What's nice is, even though, as you say, you've been with the organization for quite a long time, you get to work with the same fantastic people, you clearly have not stagnated or been complacent, because you've worked in different departments, different areas. You've been able to kind of flex different muscles and strengthen your skill set across areas. That must be something that's particularly appealing to you. The idea that you get to work with the same great team members, same great people, you have the same benefits of the organizational structure, but each day, each challenge, each department gives you an opportunity to do new things and try new things.
Yeah, most definitely. I think, having that familiar foundation is something that's been huge for me. But to your point, still having the opportunity to take on new challenges, new roles, and while also working with some of the same folks, meeting a ton of new folks as well. And again, that's internally working for such a large organization. It's great because there's so many folks you can pull ideas from, collaborate with. And, that's something that's been very worthwhile for me in my career.
Yeah. So now that we know a little bit about both of you, I'd like to move into some of the more kind of analytical questions that you may have heard if you've listened to previous editions of the AV Plus podcast with our 40 under 40 honorees. There was a lot of debate, let's say, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, about the 40 under 40, the recognition that this is in some ways an age-based metric, where we're talking about people who are under a certain age and recognizing their contributions. Do you feel like there is value in something like the 40 under 40, or would it be better just to say these are 50 people in the AV industry who may be 18, or they may be 95, who are contributing meaningfully? Do you see value in taking time to spotlight younger talent, and if so, why?
Anna?
Well, yeah, I definitely find value in it. I think it's so important that we take time to honor young talent and their influence, because it in turn motivates us to invest in the next up generation. There's a lot of times, until you're at that executive level, you don't get the chance to look back and realize all your contributions to the industry. And this has given me the opportunity to reflect on even some of the lessons too that has shaped me into who I am. And it's definitely not lost on me, all those who have helped guide me to where I am today. So it's important for me to guide the next person.
So what would you say, and I'm going to go to you, Graham, in a moment for your thoughts about the 40 under 40, but what would you say some of those lessons you've learned, or maybe that this program has helped elucidate for you, Anne? I'm just kind of curious. You said this kind of maybe gave you an opportunity to learn or grow or perceive things you otherwise wouldn't have. What might those be?
So for me, I think it really starts at understanding what you do really well and leveraging the team that you are a part of, and being tied to the company's vision. There's a lot of times we always try to carry everything on ourselves to get it done, but sometimes you're not looking around for those who can feed into your life and to help you, and to make the outcome one more efficient and then also just better.
Absolutely. So, Graham, what are your thoughts about the idea of recognizing young talent? What are the virtues or the benefits of doing so from your point of view, if indeed you do think that it's something worth doing?
Yeah, most definitely. I think it's a very important thing to do. And, for me, being honored with 39 other folks that, to your point, folks within our own industry think we're worthwhile to nominate. It's a huge deal for me. And you touched on age, right? I think in the AV industry specifically, younger folks for a while have been underrepresented, if you will. So, a list like this for me, like I mentioned, kind of growing up in the AV space was a very big deal for me from you and the team, Dan. So I think what it does is give, kind of to piggyback what Anna was mentioning, it gives young folks the ability to say, hey, I was recognized for what I've done so far. And for me, it served as motivation as far as, hey, I'm making an impact positively for me, my company, and my partners, but also kind of kickstarts you to say, hey, if I can be recognized for this 40 under 40, what else can we make happen? So for me, it served as a great benchmark in my career, but also as motivation.
I think it really is a motivator. That's what we hope it to be, recognizing that, people like you, people like Anna have so much more you're going to contribute in the years ahead and the decades ahead. And we want it to be, in some sense, an affirmation that you've already made incredible strides, already made incredible contributions. And we just can't wait. The pump is primed to see what you do next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I also think you made a very good point, Anna, in terms of, there is a lot of recognition of executive level people who are, leading AVIXA panels or Commercial Integrator Expo panels, people who are omnipresent in the industry, people like Sandy Stambaugh, a friend and someone I respect tremendously. But there's so much talent within TD SYNNEX. It's nice to put the spotlight on others as well and recognize that you're going to be those next superstars, those people over the next 2 or 3 decades who are going to become omnipresent.
Yeah,
I sure hope so.
Go ahead, Anna. I was going to say, yeah, exactly. Those are kind words, to be mentioned in the same sentence as Sandy and Tommy, TJ, some of our other leaders. I think I can speak for both Anna and myself that without those folks, we wouldn't have even made it to the 40 under 40 list. So, that means a great deal to hear you put us in the same sentence as those folks.
So let me ask you about this. Obviously, we're talking specifically about TD SYNNEX this week because both of you are part of the TD SYNNEX organization. But I want to kind of zoom out a little bit and think about how organizations can hang on to their young talent, people like you. Obviously, you've heard a lot over the past months, even maybe the past year, about the Great Resignation, people looking for greener pastures, people saying, well, I want a new opportunity, maybe I want to earn more, maybe I want to be fully remote, whatever the motivator is, that people are not necessarily as wedded to the organizations they're part of as they once were. So I want to get a sense, and again, a broad scale, how you think companies can make sure they hang on to their young superstars. Is it about compensation? Is it about benefits? Is it about having robust professional development opportunities? Is it about giving people an opportunity to work in different departments and work with different teams? Just on the broad scale, what do you think companies can do to kind of mitigate that Great Resignation and make sure they hang on to people for the long haul? Because they don't want to lose people.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a hurdle. I think that we're seeing across all industries, but especially AV. At the end of the day, everybody wants to feel valued and compensated for their good work. And I also think it's very important that a young professional feels connected to the vision of their company while working with their team towards a unified goal, because in that you'll find your own merit of success. Giving young leaders opportunity to own projects, more responsibilities for their business, I think it shows trust in the individual. And then also, I know we spoke a little bit about mentorship, but offering mentorship to young talent to help guide them through their career is so important. You're going to have those conversations around compensation adjustments, benefits, discussing your next steps for growth. So I think having someone in your life to help navigate your career is really important. And we definitely value that at TD SYNNEX.
Graham?
Yeah. So, again, right, I would add more to what Anna is saying. I think compensation is the easy answer here, right? Everybody wants to be compensated, it's your livelihood. And I think for the most part that goes unsaid. But to me, specifically at TD SYNNEX, and I think, other companies looking to keep younger talent and figuring out, where folks fit, it's really been about finding folks who have invested in my career. And not only professionally, right, but also personally. That professional and personal growth to me, is married more than a lot of folks like to mention. So some of the folks we just mentioned a few moments ago, those folks have continually poured into my career, invested in, my growth, and to Anna's point, putting us in opportunities that may be uncomfortable on the front end, but they're well aware those are where, we're able to grow and become better, not only for ourselves, but of course, for the company too. So for me, of course, compensation is very important to everyone, but also finding an organization that is going to invest in your career and then also your personal growth and, finding, like Anna said, somewhere that you feel that you're working day in and day out with folks who care about the common goal. That's a huge deal to me.
Yeah. I think that idea, to use the words that you use, Graham, of kind of like having the opportunity to have someone pour into you, pour into the organization, but also pour into you to help you grow and help you develop, I think is really important. And that aligns with that, what Anna mentioned about mentorship. Are there any mentors in particular, whether they're inside TD SYNNEX or outside TD SYNNEX, whether they're current or past, that you want to personally give a shout out to and say, this woman, this man, this person gave me the tools that I needed, again, whether it was when I was a teenager or whether it was last year, to be who I am today?
Man, well, for me, that's pretty easy. Sandy Stambaugh, she's definitely an AV industry veteran, but the way that she really takes time to sew into my life and sometimes puts me in uncomfortable positions for growth is so needed. Having her trust in me and her wisdom has really helped shape who I am. So I can't thank her enough for seeing potential in me, and I really want to be that for someone else, for sure.
And Graham?
Yeah, sure thing. So like Anna, right, I have to mention Sandy Stambaugh, who gave me my first opportunity at SYNNEX. So forever indebted to her for that and the continued investment. And then also Tommy Plummer and TJ Trojan at TD SYNNEX on the sales side have taught me so much, again, not only professionally, but personally, and then all the way up to Peter Larock as well, right? My entire career, I've worked under his leadership. So again, I think I'm speaking for Anna and myself that the opportunities all of those folks have provided for us definitely are, something that we'll always be thankful for and continue to build on.
Absolutely. So as we begin to start winding down the podcast, what I want to talk a little bit about, since you've both emphasized the importance of mentorship and having kind of a guiding hand to bring you to the levels where you currently are, I want to talk a little bit about what I had mentioned to Graham, the idea of so many people just kind of backing into the industry, not necessarily coming here with an intentional path. Do you have any suggestions? Do you have any ideas, whether it's something you see within TD SYNNEX or something you see more broadly in the industry, to entice people to be part of our community intentionally? Is it internship programs? Is it outreach at colleges and universities and trade schools? What do you think can make more people think, I want to be part of an AV integrator, I want to be part of an AV distributor, I want to be part of this community?
Well, I mean, for me, I kind of stumbled into the channel after I graduated from school. I was just like every other college kid, like, what next? And I think if we can get on the forefront of that and make sure that we're recruiting young talent at the high school level as well as college fairs, it's super important because we have an awesome success story to share. The different diversification and roles in our industry is insane. And I think that everyone can find a perfect place, and it's something that's growing, right? So I definitely think that making the mark with young talent early on, before they get to that point, like where I was, post-grad, is really important.
Yeah, I would add to that by looking at a program that our organization actually has formalized, and a lot of new hires are able to come through, cycle through a few different business units from product management, sales, business development, marketing. And what's better than hands-on experience learning, hey, maybe I am pretty good at this, where I could use a little more work in this section. So, programs like that, I think, give folks firsthand, on-hand experience of, maybe what their strengths are, and they can lean into that. And then, like you both have touched on, I think just becoming more aware at colleges, technical programs, things like that. And then I think this goes back even to your earlier question, Dan, of that 40 under 40 list and why it's so important. It's another beacon for young folks to see, hey, this is an industry where folks feel they can make a difference. And not only that, will they be recognized? So again, I think, this list and honor for us is very important to also show younger talent, especially folks that are just about to get into the workforce, that, hey, it's a great industry. It's a little cliche, but it's a family, right? So I think just awareness overall is something that's always helpful.
I think so too. And you use the word beacon. I think that's a very good choice of words, Graham, because what I really would love to do is find more of a, a lighthouse, so to speak, to guide people into the industry, people who may be in the dark and not sure what they want to do. Maybe they're 19, 20, or 21 years old. They love technology, or perhaps they're early adopters, but they don't quite know what they want to do with that. I'd love to have a lighthouse or a beacon to guide people to us, because I know in the interviews I've done for the 40 Under 40 podcast, there's so many people who said, well, maybe 15 years ago, I was a bartender, and then this happened, and then this happened, and now I work for this integrator. And we're incredibly enriched by their presence, just like we're enriched by both of your presence as part of the industry. But to have more of a glide path, more of a clear point A to point B way to attract those people to our industry, it just makes me wonder how many superstars we've missed out on because they didn't happen to back into the industry. I don't want to frame it as something that's being existential to us as a whole, but it really does seem like it's imperative for us to sell the virtues of industry the same way we can sell the virtues of our organizations, respectively. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, you look around, folks that are in the industry usually don't leave, right? Because there is so much opportunity for growth in their career. And definitely lists like 40 Under 40, it shows different roles, different approaches to where you can make a difference. So, I mean, making this highlighted at a young high school, college level, it's super important because folks just need some guidance. And again, we have a great story to tell. So if they can tap into publications like this, that would be awesome.
Graham?
Yeah, agreed 100% with Anna. And, I think you make a great point, Dan, of some folks in our industry have, their grandparents and even further back started some of these companies that they grew up in. And then you have folks like myself who were fortunate enough to land in the AV industry, especially specifically for me by way of distribution. So again, I think just more and more awareness of folks learning that, there's all different backgrounds and even ages in our industry. So I think the more and more that people understand that, the more and more folks will be able to attract, especially at an earlier age.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up, I just want to ask, is there anything that we have touched on or not touched on that you would like to close with? Any closing thoughts, any message to others who might be similarly situated to yourselves, who aspire to achieve the level of recognition that you both have achieved, who want to be a 40 Under 40 honoree in the future? Any closing thoughts to them or to the industry as a whole?
Well, first, I just want to thank you for spending some time with us. I definitely consider this recognition as a huge milestone in my career, and I definitely feel honored to be a part of the 2022 class. I'm surrounded by a lot of an amazing talent and influencers, and it definitely gives me hope and fires me up for more. I definitely think that taking time to celebrate is so important. You have to give yourself some grace and celebrate your wins, and any losses, really take them as a lesson, and speak with mentors about it and see where you can learn and grow.
Excellent. Anything from you, Graham, as far as closing thoughts?
Yeah, sure thing. Again, I have to, like Anna, thank you, Dan, and the team so much for the recognition. It means a great deal for me. Like I said, kind of as far as my career goes, growing up in the industry, it's a huge deal for me. And, I see that you don't stop, man. You're at every event. I thought I did some traveling, but definitely look forward to seeing you here in the future. And then, just one last thanks to, our leaders and partners, and then even some of those competitors too, right? We enjoy having that friendly competition with. So I consider myself lucky to be a part of this industry, and I'm very excited about where we're all heading here in the future.
Well, thank you so much for that, Graham. And I really feel like the industry is enriched and lucky to have people like you, people like Anna, people like the other 38 of the 40 Under 40 as part of it, because you're doing excellent work. Your peers and colleagues are recognizing it. And we're really excited. I know I am excited to see what 2023, 2024 and beyond hold in terms of the ongoing and continuing contributions you make to make this industry even stronger, even better, and even more robust. But for now, I'd just like to thank both of you for being on the AV Plus podcast this week. And of course, congratulate you for being 40 Under 40 honorees. Very deserving. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
So happy to have been joined by Anna Wrice, who is Senior Partner, Business Manager of Collaboration with TD SYNNEX, and Graham Kelly, who is Senior Manager, North American Field Sales with TD SYNNEX. My name is Dan Ferrisi, Editor-in-Chief with Commercial Integrator and host of the AV Plus podcast. Please check in each and every Friday for a new edition of the AV Plus podcast. And thank you so much to all of our viewers and listeners for watching this entire 40 Influencer Under 40 series. We're looking forward to doing even better in 2023, but we thank you for joining us on this journey. Once again, Graham, Anna, thank you for being here.